What if I get another white elephant in a row? I don't know what I'm gonna do. Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Leandra the TBR0, and this is the second vlog featuring 12 books of Murdermas. If you missed my first part, I'll be sure to have it linked below, as well as a card somewhere on the screen. But basically, back in December 2023, a year ago, I wrapped 16 books, and now I can't remember which ones they are or which numbers are associated with them. I have 12 books that are representing Murdermas. So they are wintry or holiday mysteries, and then I have 4 that I'm deeming white elephants, meaning that they are mysteries set in tropical locations, or basically the opposite of winter, meaning that it's set in summer, and I'm trying to avoid those while trying to find my Murdermas books. In the first part, I ended up reading 4 books. 3 of them ended up being part of Murdermas, and 1 of them was unfortunately a white elephant. I also gave a little bit of a sneak peek about the book that I'm going to be starting with for this vlog. My first vlog ended up featuring a jar and numbers generated by my Manor guests. I had them all decide to participate and provide a number if they were interested, and I finally found the last number, and it was number 9. I ended up giving this sneak peek, and I think we all know what that means. I am likely starting this vlog with a white elephant, but let's not wait any longer and unwrap this gift. Oh gosh. Yep, I found my second white elephant, and that is Auntie Pym and the Sicilian Lions. This is the first book in the Auntie Pym series by Mario Giordano. I'm pretty sure it's also a translation, which is super exciting. However, this also means that I only have 2 more white elephants to find, and I still have 9 books of Murdermas to discover. I'm excited because this is a modern mystery, which is switching things up because my first vlog ended up featuring a lot of Golden Age titles. So we're gonna see what happens. On her 60th birthday, Auntie Pym retires to Sicily, intending to while away the rest of her days with good wine, a view of the sea, and few visitors. But Sicily isn't quite the tranquil island she thought it would be, and something always seems to get in the way of her relaxation. When her handsome young handyman goes missing and is discovered murdered, she can't help but ask questions. Soon there's investigation, a smoldering police detective, a romantic entanglement, one false lead after another, a rooftop showdown, and finally, of course, Pym herself, slightly tousled, but still perfectly poised. What? This seems like a wild ride. It also feels a bit cozy, so we'll see how I feel about it, but I am excited. I've actually visited Italy a few times. I've never had a chance to go to Sicily though, so I'm excited to get into the atmosphere of the island. Hopefully the author does a good job of describing Sicily for me. Yeah. We'll see what happens. During this vlog, I also plan on continuing decorating my apartment. The last vlog, I actually got these lights set up, and I still don't understand how their light system works. I don't know why they keep changing, but I still also have a lot of Halloween decor up. I've got pumpkins everywhere, so you all are gonna be with me as I do that. Plus, one moment. Last vlog, I ended up stopping at Barnes & Noble. I had to do an exchange for a book that was damaged when it arrived, but while I was there, I couldn't help peruse the puzzles, and we have The World of Hercule Poirot. I couldn't help but buy it, so I'm also going to be putting this together during this vlog. It should be fun. Okay, let's get reading. I have read 6 chapters in Auntie Pym and the Sicilian Lions, and honestly, this is the kind of cozy mystery I can get behind. It's comfortable. We're getting a lot of great details about Italy, specifically Sicily, and I think that speaks to the fact that the author is Italian. So what's really cool about this is you can tell that Mario Giordano has created Auntie Pym from his own background. It says that he was the son of Italian immigrants and was born in Munich, and now he lives in Cologne. But Auntie Pym, she is Bavarian. She ends up retiring to Sicily from Munich or somewhere else in Germany. She had been married to a Sicilian who spoke Sicilian and German, and so that's how they kind of speak back and forth to each other. Unfortunately, her husband has passed away, and so when she retires, she decides to go somewhere very warm, and so she finds herself in Sicily. She's got this really vibrant community around her. She's pretty comfortable, and it's very easy for her to adapt, and I would argue she doesn't really seem very Bavarian. She doesn't seem very German on page, but she is a firecracker. I really love her spunk. She will bite back at people who kind of need a talking to, and she also is willing to continue investigating the disappearance of her handyman. It helps that the lead investigator is a hottie, Commissario Montana. She is giving him a hard time, and he's kind of just accepting that she's around, even though every other chapter he's telling her, hey, stop investigating. You're messing with my mojo. You're impacting the investigation, and I don't want to be taken off this case. But Auntie Pym is determined to figure out what's going on, because there is this interesting balance between a coziness vibe that comes from the setting, comes from an older amateur sleuth, and the humor infused within it too, because the way the narrative style is designed is that we are being told her story through her nephew, who visits from Munich from time to time, and we get his perspective as he's kind of almost breaking the fourth wall once in a while. There are times when we come back to the present tense and they're all gathered around asking her questions as Auntie Pym tells her tale of how she solved the murder, which is quite fun. Oh, what I want to argue is that even though there are those cozy moments, there's also some sentimentality and loss, because Valentino, the handyman, she does end up realizing that he has been murdered, and so they are trying to figure out who killed him, why, and she is saddened to know that his life was cut short and that there is a community surrounding him that will miss him. I think it's pretty well done, and I'm intrigued to see what else happens in this story, especially because I'm not halfway yet. I'm almost halfway, but for now, I'm just having a good time with the descriptions of Sicily, and I don't mind that we kind of get distracted from the mystery every once in a while. I'm having a good time with Poldy, the other characters, and I'll be interested to see how much more trouble she gets into, because she does get into some trouble in moments where I feel like I personally would be backing up and being like, okay, I'm done, you got me. But she's standing her ground, and I love it. So I'll let you guys know how I feel once I finish the book. And also, I've got to get on that puzzle. I told you guys I was going to be doing this Poirot puzzle during this vlog, and I'm determined to do it. So prepare for that kind of B-roll. This morning I finished my first book for this vlog, and that means I've got 2 white elephants down, 2 more to avoid. I mean, the odds have to be in my favor, right? I can't have 2 white elephants in a row. It will actually crush me if I get another white elephant. I don't know what I'll do. But I am happy to say that this was a pretty enjoyable, cozy mystery, and I also feel confident in calling it cozy. There was some lighthearted humor. We had an elderly kind of spinster sleuth, and she was really enjoyable to honestly get to know on the page. The few things that I wasn't as enamored with by the end of the story was her romance with the Commissario Montana. He's not a good dude, and I don't really know how their romance would continue throughout the series, because obviously this is my first experience with Auntie Pym, but I'm a little bit worried that we may be accepting that he's a dog. I'm not happy with him. I don't like him for Auntie Pym, but I did really enjoy the setting, and it is lush. So if you're someone who really wants to be set in Sicily in this warm climate, especially during this winter season when you need to warm up, this is probably the book for you. Unfortunately, I also have to provide a content warning again. I don't know why this Christmas season has me dealing with animal death more than once in each book, but this one also has it. There is the death of a dog and the death of a cat. I don't really understand. What kind of vibe am I giving off to the universe that that's what I'm getting in my books? Also, the solution in the end was a bit lackluster for me. I had a different idea for how it could wrap up, but you know, it is what it is, and it's time for us to move on to the second book in this vlog. This time, I've decorated my little jar, and also I'm preparing for a potential TBR game to be introduced in 2025, so you can see that I'm already getting into the spirit with red herring. I wonder what that means. But let's see what my next prompt is gonna be. I haven't added any prompts or numbers from subscribers yet, mainly because the first vlog isn't out. It's literally gonna be published to the public tomorrow. So for now, I just had to come up with some prompts for myself. So just so you know, that's what's in here at the moment. And this is gonna be our first one. I wonder what it is. All right. Oh my gosh, ask a friend? Okay, let me see if I can message someone quickly and ask them for a number.
Especially unique is the last one, which is The Spear Cuts Through Water by Simon Jimenez.
Is this a scene that is like inserted into another chapter, or it's just like extra, like how do we read it? We are so excited for you and just everything that's to come. Thank you again so much.
Thank you for having me. It's been so much fun.
Okay, so she said 14. Okay, so let's do it. All right, here we go. Thanks, Rainy. I hope you didn't do me dirty. What if I get another white elephant in a row? I don't know what I'm gonna do. It's another white elephant. Oh, I don't know what to do. Are you kidding me? I don't even remember this title. Have no idea what it's about. Let's see here. Oh, I think it's set in Florida. That's pretty fitting because that's where Rainy's from. Okay, let's see if I can get through this as soon as I can because we have so much catching up to do with my 12 books of Murdermas. This did not go the way I wanted it to, friends, but you know what? We just gotta roll with the punches. Get ready for the earliest update that I've ever done in my life. I just had to acknowledge the opening lines in Pineapple Grenade, and it seems like it's going to be a really absurdist ride. So the prologue begins. A prosthetic leg with a Willie Nelson bumper sticker washed ashore on the beach, which meant it was Florida. Then it got weird. Homicide detectives would soon be stumped by the discovery of the so-called Hollow Man. Empty torso with no external wounds, like all his organs had been magically scooped out. Little progress was made in the case until a TV station began calling him the Jack-o'-lantern Man, which immediately doubled the number of nicknames. But right now, the victim had yet to be found. In fact, he was still breathing. So, what? Okay, we got a little bit of a glimpse into the future. Apparently, our future victim is going to die in a horrific, crazy way. Not only is like a prosthetic leg being found, but this man's torso is completely empty of organs. That sounds disgusting. And I know that there's a book called The Hollow Man by John Dixon Carr, I'm pretty sure, so I'm wondering if this is an allusion to that. But really fitting for Rainy because it says it's set in Florida, and I think that's really hilarious. If I actually, I just went one page further, and it says that it's begins on the 12th of December. So is this unintentionally a Christmas read, but just set in Florida? I know for a fact that when I wrapped this was meant to be a white elephant though, but oh my gosh, I just don't know what I'm in for, but it seems like it's gonna be really ridiculous. My worry is that it might be too ridiculous. Too ridiculous? Too ridiculous. But I will keep you all updated on how I progress through this very, very weird book. I don't know, friends. This book is pretty humorous, but I think it may be too wacky for me. We have the benefits of it being set in a very solid place. We are in Miami, we're in Florida, and so you would assume that there would be some grounding to this story, but I just can't wrap my head around these characters. I mean, we've got Serge Storms, who is kind of a vigilante. He dresses up like Superman. He has like an S on his chest, and everyone's like, oh, is that for Superman? And he's like, no, it's for Serge. His assistant is this pot smoking guy named Coleman, who's just kind of like here for the vibes. There is this really funny moment where they are talking about how they may have to kill the guy that they've kidnapped in their apartment or in their motel room, and Coleman's like, probably shouldn't. And he's like, yeah, like, you're the voice of reason because you are someone who smokes so much pot that you're not really here for violence, nor are you here to like work very hard. And Coleman's response is, yeah, no, I don't like doing that myself, but I like to watch it happen. And Serge is like, do you mean you like watching people kill other people, or do you mean you like watching people work? And he's like, yeah, both. And I'm just thinking, what am I supposed to take from this? So I don't know. There are some moments where I'm laughing, and there are other moments where I'm just thinking, why is this happening? Like, Serge really wants to be a spy, so he keeps camping out at like foreign consulates, taking photos, asking them outright if he can be a spy. So there doesn't seem to be a strong enough plot line that I can grasp onto, and I just don't really want to read it. So unfortunately, this is going to have to be our first DNF. I'm really sad to say that because I didn't really expect to DNF any of these books, but this is just too weird for me. I'm so sad. Honestly though, thanks Rainey for doing me the solid of choosing this book so I can get out of the way. And the thing is, there's only one more white elephant left, and if I get it, that means we just know for a fact I'm reading every single book that I have that's wrapped, and that's kind of insane to me. So let's grab the jar and try another book. All right, let's see what the next thing is I have to unwrap. Okay, let's see what I have to do. Ooh, change up the paper color. What was the color of the last one I just did? I literally just did it like a couple hours ago. Hold on, I gotta double check. Okay, it was green, so we are going to go with red. But which red should I do? Oh my gosh, I don't know. Should I just do number 3? Okay, we're gonna go with number 3. I'm kind of scared. Okay, my thought processes are, it is a hardback, so I think that might be good. So yeah, let's do it. Agatha Christie Midsummer Murder! Oh my gosh, this is actually really serendipitous because I know that Danny is actually going to be reading this winter as well. Obviously, I'm a bit more on a time crunch. Oh, look how beautiful that is. That's really, really nice. I love the house. Now, the issue is that this is a collection of short stories, and that's not something that you really should binge. You can enjoy 1 or 2 in a sitting, but this is gonna take some time, and I don't have time. So I think what I might need to do is actually unwrap another gift so that I have this one on the go as I'm reading another one. And then once I unwrap the other gift, this is probably going to be something that I periodically check in with everyone, or maybe I will just read it as I can. And yeah, you guys will get an update once I finish it. We're gonna have to figure this out. I didn't really consider how I was gonna handle short story collections. Probably back in December 2023, I was like, that's future Leandra's problem. She'll probably be decent at vlogging at that point to know what to do. Plot twist, I haven't really learned much, so we're gonna just test this out. But let's find out what long form novel I'm actually gonna read while I'm reading this collection. You all really are gonna have to do me a solid and put in some numbers because I'm already going through my next jar way too quickly. Ooh, roll the dice. Okay, I'm gonna have to go grab a dice. 1 second. All right, let's roll this dice. Number 2. I don't think I've done that one yet. The camera placement may have moved because I literally had to take it to go roll, but I ended up getting a 2, and I haven't unwrapped that yet. So let's see what book I'm going to be reading as I end up juggling Midsummer Murder. Oh wow, I really wrapped this one really good. Hold on. Let's do a corner test. What does this look like? Nothing. Love that for me. I know exactly what this book is! Isn't that crazy that you can just tell based on a corner? Let me show you my analysis. First and foremost, that little square, that tells me that it's a British Library Crime Classics edition, probably from Poison Pen Press in the US, and that means it's Golden Age. And I'm pretty sure that must mean it's wintry, because I don't really think I have many Golden Age that I would have thought to wrap that are set in summer. So I'm feeling really good about this. Okay, ready, friends? Mystery in White. Now this is by J. Jefferson Fardian, and I've never read a book by him, but I know that this one is set on Christmas Eve, and it's partially a train mystery, hence the train on the cover. What I think happens is a bunch of strangers are taking a train. They end up getting snowbound. The train can't proceed. I think maybe it arrives at the station, but it can't move forward because of poor weather. So everyone is forced to basically go to this, what seems to be an abandoned estate, just to honestly protect themselves from the stormy weather. But then they realize that being surrounded by these strangers, there are some sinister happenings. I think there might be a murder. So this is kind of going to be towing the line between mystery and thriller. So yeah, I'm really excited. But okay, so I'm going to be juggling this one and Midsummer Murder. So this is definitely back in my comfort zone. I'm very excited, and I will give you all an update once I get through one of these. It is a cold Saturday morning and I'm here for a library shift. I am opening up the library as we speak, but I wanted to provide a very quick update. So I've started Mystery in White and I am really enjoying it, but it's such early days that I can't provide you with too much information. There are so many characters that seem to be different from others. They're quite unique. It's an eclectic group, which I really love. And the fact that they are all just on their way to various places on Christmas Eve, it suggests that they should know each other, that there aren't connections, and of course the weather is to blame for why they're all stuck together. And I do love that premise because it suggests that any crime that's about to happen is spontaneous, hasn't been planned, and in that case, what has driven this person to take those actions. So I just wanted to let you all know that I am reading, but I've been really busy this week, and oh my gosh, there is a deadline. We got to get these vlogs done. So I wanted to provide you with a preliminary update, and I'll see if I can update you guys about midway before I actually finish the book so I can give you more details than I have at the moment. Good morning. I am about to start my work for the podcast, but I thought this was a good time to give you an update. I have been reading Mystery in White this morning, and I'm now about halfway. You can't really see because, of course, I chose a bookmark that is literally the same color as the book. But I am on page 130. I've read, 13 chapters so far, and so much has happened. So we ended up getting these characters stopped for their travels on this train, and they decide to brave the storm. They end up getting lost, they're disoriented, and they find themselves at this abandoned house. When they enter the home, the door is unlocked. There are fires in the fireplace, keeping everything warm. There is a tea kettle boiling over, but the resident or residents that were inhabiting this place cannot be found. So the question is, where did they go? Are they still in the house? If so, why are they hiding? And our new inhabitants, the train passengers, are just trying to stay safe because the snow is piling up. And eventually, I'm at the point where when they open the door, it is just snow. You literally cannot make your way through and away from this home unless you pretty much welcome the fact that you may die from the elements. So these characters are kind of stuck together. We have a brother-sister duo. We have a young woman who I believe is in entertainment. She may be a dancer, but she's hurt. She's hurt her ankle on the trip to this house. So now she's stuck in bed. We have a man with a fever, so he's also tucked away, and they're worried about his own safety because they're saying he has like 102, 103 fever at the moment. There is this man who sees ghosts, apparently. He speaks to the dead. His name is Mr. Maltby, and he seems to be our detective. He is the one who is sizing everyone up, kind of making people uncomfortable because there's this one description by our dancer who's been hurt. I think her name was Lydia. No, Lydia is the sister. It's Jessie Noyce. She is the one who is currently tucked in bed. And we're also getting her diary entries periodically throughout this book, and I didn't expect that. And I do enjoy it. It breaks up the third person POV that we're getting as we're jumping between heads. So then we're with Jessie, who is pretty candid. She's just saying what she thinks. She's a very sweet, kind of naive woman. But with that said, she's also very experienced in her interactions with other people, specifically men. She is known to be this very beautiful young woman, and there is a gentleman within their midst who makes her really uncomfortable. And I appreciate that this author, a man, has provided us with this woman character who is very weary of men's objectification of her. She can tell just by the way they look at her and interact with her, their intentions. She just had a bit of a heart-to-heart with another gentleman, the brother of the duo, and he says, he's making you uncomfortable, isn't he? Well, then I'm gonna do my best, as is my sister, to protect you in the way that we can and make sure that you're never alone in your room. And I was just like, it's so nice when you see that type of interaction, especially in a book that was written in 1937. I thought that that was really interesting rhetoric to be put into this novel while the main focus is just the rising tension. With every passing hour, the characters get more uncomfortable. There was a door that was locked, and it felt as though we could hear someone on the other side, but they weren't opening the door. The next time that door was checked, it was unlocked. And there's a bread knife that keeps being mentioned. It's now missing. So I am really enjoying the tension, and something major just happened, but I can't tell you because it's definitely a spoiler. So we are going to move forward with this narrative, but I'm really enjoying it. Mr. Maltby, he acts as a bit of a detective who is at arm's length. We don't really get his internal thoughts. He does monologue quite a bit, which is classic detective behavior. And yeah, like I said, he sees ghosts. He was actually on a trip to go speak to some dead person, and obviously that ended up not happening, but he was mentioning that there may be a ghost among them tonight. So there are some discussions of this being a bit of a haunting paranormal story, and I'm feeling it. So I'm halfway through. I'll let you all know when I finish it. I just finished Mystery in White by J. Jefferson Farjian, and it ended up being really chaotic. Like, it was a really crazy read, but was it atmospheric? Was it an excellent kind of wintry thriller in which all of these strangers had to figure out what was going on, who was actually in the house, and who has been murdered, if anyone? 100%. I found it really compelling. It was a very quick read, and it definitely gave us the paranormal vibes that you may be looking for this wintry holiday season. So it was fun. I'm definitely going to try this author again, but I will say the ending was a little bit far-fetched. That's all I'll say. That is all I will divulge. And as another update, I still haven't even touched Midwinter Murder. I know that I ended up actually unwrapping this before I unwrapped Mystery in White, but because it's a short story collection, I think that's what's making me hesitate. But all I have to do is actually read the first 1 or 2 short stories, and then I can make it a daily practice. It's just that I have so many books on the go right now, and I keep prioritizing my novels rather than my short form work. So I have the goal of starting this tonight, okay? Mark my words, I'm starting this tonight. In other news, I have been getting some comments from people, but I feel badly because some of the numbers have already been chosen. For instance, Tuesday gave number 3, and actually, if I'm remembering correctly, this was number 3. So thank you. I do appreciate you providing this. And then I also think that it was Beth who gave me number 12. I'm looking at my numbers now. I already unwrapped number 12. So it's just, you know, how the cookie crumbles. But I wanted to let you all know that I saw those comments and I really do appreciate them. On top of that, Michelle Lynn ended up asking for a rolling of the dice. I rolled 1 die at one point, so I can definitely re-implement that. So Michelle, keep an eye out. We will be doing that. But for now, I have to unwrap another gift because, like I said, this is just going to be an ongoing project. I probably won't finish it until the final vlog anyway, but what to choose next? Well, I was thinking that even though I've already unwrapped number 3, 3 plus 3 is 6, and I haven't unwrapped number 6 yet. So should I go for it? I think I should. I think that's what I'm going to do. So let's see what is in number 6. Is it the final white elephant, or am I going to be unwrapping one of 7 books of Murdermas that I still need to find? Here we go. Ooh, okay. I mean, it's dark green. I feel like that's a good sign, but you never really know. Oh, you know what's crazy? I think I actually know what it is. I know that that little corner is the smallest thing, but I don't know, I can just tell the style of it, and I'm pretty sure it's an American Mystery Classics from Penzler. So we're doing another Golden Age, but it's going to be American, I think. Oh my gosh, The Egyptian Cross Mystery by Ellery Queen. I've only read one other Ellery Queen before, and it was actually the Roman Hat Mystery, the first book written by this duo. So Ellery Queen is this fictionalized character, actually the main sleuth within the books, but also the author, so it's a little bit meta. And the authors are actually a cousin writing duo from the 20th century. I will be very intrigued to see how I feel about this one, because I remember I was a little bit disappointed with the Roman Hat Mystery. That one was quite interesting. It featured a theater mystery. An audience member was killed during a performance, and then Ellery Queen and his father, who's an inspector, have to team up and figure out who killed this man, why. But the ending was quite lackluster for me. I was pretty disappointed. So this will be interesting. And I definitely remember this. It says crucifixion on Christmas Day. That's what the newspapers report when a small town school teacher is discovered dead, beheaded, and tied to a T-shaped cross on December 25th. That is actually really crazy. So yeah, this is going to be the next book I read. I'm excited. I hope it's okay that I did the 3+3 method to get to this book, but I'm pumped. I am a quarter of the way through the Egyptian Cross mystery. I've read 5 chapters, and friends, I think I have to do another DNF. I am not enjoying myself. This book is honestly one I went in with some trepidation. I had mentioned I tried the Roman Hat mystery, and I actually really enjoyed the setup, the investigation throughout the book, but the ending was lackluster. It left an unsatisfactory taste in my mouth because of some of the connotations regarding race and race relations, and it wasn't handled well. That's not the issue I'm having with this book, actually. However, there are some areas that I'm worried we're going to edge our way into, certain moments of ignorance regarding cultures that are non-American and non-white European, because we are discussing certain places that are in Eastern Europe, Romania. We also have Armenian descent being mentioned here, and people are being crucified. There are suggestions that this is related to some type of religious cult, and the bodies of these people are being mutilated, like their heads are being cut off and objected to a display. And then there was the mention of this nudist colony suddenly cropping up, and I'm just like, why? Why do we need this in this page? Like, it just doesn't make any sense. So basically, there is a murder in West Virginia. That is the first person that we discover, and they start calling it the T murder because they don't really know what's going on. And it's left as a case of clearly murder, but the courts don't know what to do. The police don't know how to move forward. So it becomes a bit of a cold case. Not long after, there is a death that mirrors it perfectly in Long Island. So now Ellery Queen decides to go and check out this murder, seeing, okay, we see West Virginia, we see New York. Clearly this is a pattern. And the same religious sect that was in West Virginia is now on Long Island with this nudist colony. They're investigating the family. One of the family members is apparently a member. The daughter or the sister has gone off to be a part of it. And it's a bit absurd. It's a bit ridiculous, and I just don't care. I've heard that this is a bit of a drab novel within Queen's collection as well, and I'm going to keep it on my shelves as someone whose job is to research Golden Age mysteries, both the British variety as well as the American variety. So I'm not going to unhaul it, but I am going to put it down until there's a day where I am forced to read it for my occupation. And on that note, we do have to figure out the next book I'm unwrapping. I have 7 more packages to unwrap. Remember, I am still reading Midwinter Murder, and actually I finished the first short story last night as kind of a bedtime read, and it was really lovely. It wasn't that impressive of a mystery, but it was just really wonderful to be back with Poirot and Hastings, so I'm excited to keep going with that one, but we do need a long form work to keep me going. So it's probably going to be the last book of the vlog as well, I'm thinking, just because then that leaves me with potentially 6 to read for the final vlog, and I think that's probably my capacity anyway. So that means I have to figure out what I'm going to do. And Michelle Lynn had mentioned that I should roll the dice, and I did roll the dice originally, but we're going to do it again because I still have 7 books to pick from, and I like the idea of including a die. Why not? Well, because my puzzle isn't done yet, we're rolling on it. Let's see. Oh, is that a 1? Okay, so I just rolled, and it's really hard to see because of the fake blood stains, but that's a 1. And I just realized I never unwrapped number 1. So keeping things in check, I have 1 more white elephant that I'm trying to avoid. So this is kind of a scary unwrapping. It's definitely hardback. Like, I can feel it, and I just don't know what's in there. So let's unwrap it together. Oh. Okay. Ooh, hold on. From the get-go, this looks like, it doesn't feel it. I know I'm looking like really weird right now, but it at first I thought it might be a Bantam Classic Edition because I have so many of those right here that are Agatha Christie, but it doesn't have that bumpy leather. So I actually am wondering if it's like from Impress, Mystery Press. I have a few of those. Okay, so I'm thinking it might be kind of a classic read. Oh my gosh, This has changed things because I totally forgot I owned this book. The Spy Who Came In From the Cold by John Le Carre. This is going to be like an espionage book. And I was right. So this is actually a really cool edition from Impress Mysteries. I have a handful of them that I got through eBay for very cheap. And they're very nice, like hardback editions actually. And sometimes they'll come in with this like sleeve that has like a description of the author, some of the characters, or other, you know, like Hollywood spies that may have been inspired by this. And I'm intrigued. I don't know what to do about this beyond just go ahead and read it. So like I said, this is probably going to be the last one for this vlog. Let's hope that I don't end up having a third DNF, because if I do, what are we even doing here? I have had a very busy day, at least a very busy bookish day. So after I unwrapped this, I went ahead and hosted my weekly sprints. It was very entertaining, it was very productive, but it was also kind of emotionally overwhelming because everyone was congratulating me on hitting 3,000 subscribers, and I wasn't sure how to process everything. Everyone was really kind and, you know, sending all of the congratulations, and I never feel as though I reply with enough appreciation for how kind and thoughtful everyone is. So anyways, it was a really lovely day, and I was so happy that I could celebrate while hosting sprints with my community. So it was great. But instead of reading this book on screen, because I'm really trying to remain sneaky about these vlogs, I had to switch gears and started Strange Beasts. I am loving that book. It's obviously not for this vlog because I'm reading it on an ebook. It's not Christmassy. There's no reason why I should be mentioning it beyond the fact that I am finding it so entertaining. It's definitely Leandra coded in that it's historical mystery. It has horror and fantasy elements. We've got this badass woman duo who are trying to solve a string of murders that is clearly being done by some type of monster. And I love the references to Moriarty, to Van Helsing, to Dracula, and everything else in between. So anyways, I'm having a ball of a time with that book. So then when I closed sprints and was finally like, okay, I can move on to my secret project, which is 12 books of Murdermas, I just didn't want to do it. I was not feeling this book at all, and I hadn't even started it yet. I'm not sure how obvious the emotions were on my face when I unwrapped this book, but they were dismay. I was very worried because I am not a huge fan of espionage. I mean, I like Tommy and Tuppence, but that's very much more in the kind of area of humor and adventure versus the kind of stone cold, cool as a cucumber James Bond kind of feel. Like, I'm just not that kind of girl. How macho is this going to be? How masculine and how clever is this author going to think that he is as I read through this narrative where I have no idea what I'm doing or, you know, what I'm reading? And I will say I am pleasantly surprised. I'm actually really enjoying this. I think it's because the author is keeping me on my toes, and it's spun in a way that is really intriguing. And I like that I'm in on it, that I'm a part of the knowledgeable group as Lemus, our main character, gets himself ever deeper into the other side's like trenches. So basically this book opens up with Lemus, and he is waiting with other agents for this agent named Carl to make his way to safety across the border. And I'm pretty sure it's East Berlin versus West Berlin at this point in time where we are in history. It's published in 1963, and Carl, he hasn't shown up, and now they're worried that something's happened to him or he's simply not going to come today. And then he arrives. They can see him across the border, speaking with the border guards, showing his paperwork, and there's this tension in the air of waiting to see if he's actually going to make it to safety, especially because if they end up finding out that he is a spy and they attack him, unfortunately, all of these agents on the side of West Berlin, they can't do anything unless they are firing across the border, if that makes sense. Like, they need to be provoked, and they can't do anything that they're seeing on East Berlin side. So it's this kind of tense moment of wondering if he's going to make it. And I will say that if you want to go in blind, maybe stop here, move on, and kind of ignore this book. But the first chapter ends with him dying. Carl is shot down in front of Lemus and the other agents. He is found out, and he's only about 20 paces away from, you know, the safe zone that is the other side of the border. And it's really startling. I was shocked that that's how this ended, but it's also the catalyst for what's going to be a revenge story. Lemus returns to London, returns to, I guess, what we'll call headquarters, speaks to his, like, boss, like the head honcho, the guy who kind of, like, you know, manages all the missions. It's called Control. And tells Lemus that he has the opportunity to either, you know, come in from the cold, retire, or perform one more mission. And that is to take down, at least to my understanding, is to take down this man named Munt. And Munt is responsible for so many deaths of agents, especially those who were under the care, or at least under the supervision of Lemus. So Lemus is angry, and he decides to say, yes, I'm going to partake in this super secret mission, and I'm going to see if I can take down Munt to seek my revenge, and then I'll call it quits. And he is dedicated to the cause. Lemus ends up deciding to pretty much burn every bridge that he's ever built with others. He borrows money, doesn't give it back. He becomes a drunkard. He can't hold a job. He pretty much just finds himself wandering about. He's disgusting. He's not taking care of himself. He's horrible to everyone. And as soon as he's as isolated as he can be, that's when he's approached by the other side, because they see a broken man, a man that they could take advantage of, a man who feels as though he's been betrayed by England, by the government, by the military that he dedicated his life to. And that's the opening he was waiting for. I don't know where this narrative is going. We're gonna have to see what happens, but for now I'm enjoying it. I will say that before you consider picking this up, know that things have not aged well. Like, there are some descriptions of young women, there's objectification of women, which is to be expected, especially when we are thinking of this being like a masculine espionage novel, like men writing for men kind of situation. It's not too extensive, but it's just there. I'm aware of it. And then there is one use of the N-word. It is in relation to a story. You may recognize it, and I'm not going to be saying it here, but I will say that it's the 10 Little N-Words, which is actually the original title of And Then There Were None in the UK. In the US publishers immediately said, this title will not work. And of course, their solution wasn't great. They decided to title it 10 Little Indians. And eventually everyone was like, what are we doing? And they retitled it a final time to And Then There Were None. I just wanted to make sure that everyone was aware that that word has been used. It was used as a comparison, but it was jarring for me. And I haven't seen anything else yet, but just be aware. It's something that I would not want someone to enter this book and be shocked and really startled to find. So that's why I'm saying it now. With that said, since I'm almost halfway, I am probably going to call it quits for the night because I am very tired. I have to record tomorrow for She Done It. I obviously have to do my hours for She Done It. And there's just a whole bunch of other things I need to get done, so I don't want to stay up too late. But instead of reading this, I am going to be reading myself to sleep with Midwinter Murder. I still have only read one story, and I'm probably only going to get through one story tonight, but I'm excited. And the next story is actually called A Christmas Tragedy, so maybe it won't be a happy, cute story, but I do think that it'll relax me compared to the kind of tension that I'm getting with The Spy Who Came In From the Cold. But I'm really relieved that I'm enjoying myself. So yeah, that's what's gonna happen, and I will update you all tomorrow if I end up finishing this book, make more progress, you know how it works. Okay, yeah, I'll talk to you then. I finished The Spy Who Came In From the Cold, and I've also made some progress. I've got too many books in my lap right now. Just don't pay attention to that. ignore it. And I'm making progress in Midwinter Murder, but let's talk about the book that I finished. So this one really surprised me. I actually enjoyed it way more than I thought I was going to. Now, is it a bit depressing? Yeah. Is it kind of political because we're dealing with Cold War tension between, say, like West Berlin, East Berlin, communism, the West, and everything in between? Yeah, and I was actually on board for it. I was okay with it. Like I said, the ending kind of sucks, but in a way that I think makes sense. And I appreciate the author taking it this far in this direction. There's also a couple kind of court-like scenes, which I wasn't expecting, and I love when we have a court scene in a book. I actually just find that environment to be really engaging, and it's fascinating, the question and answer perspective, because one person is trying to trick another person and they don't know if they should be lying, and if they're lying, how do they lie, and everything. It's really tense. So I love that. This does remind me of hard-boiled noir, something that I'm getting more into now that I have a better grasp of what I like about it. For instance, themes that you'll see in that genre, and I say genre, I mean subgenre, as well as in this espionage novel, include a broken man come hero. A lot of times in hard-boiled detective fiction, we see a character, specifically a man, who is usually down on his luck. He has experienced tragedy, or basically his masculinity has been questioned, his, confidence in himself, and then by the end of the novel, he makes decisions and, becomes the savior of the day, and he becomes a man again. I know it seems like very dramatic and silly, but that is a theme in that specific subgenre. And we see that here with our main character, Lemus. It remains quite dark, something that is also found in noir. We have an atmosphere that isn't very optimistic. There are significant mentions of anti-Semitism in here, not by our main characters who we're rooting for, but to be expected when it comes to where we are in history. I mean, this was written in 1963, only a few decades after World War II. So it's to be expected, but it may be hard to read. This ended up being the star of the vlog because it's out of the books that I finished, I actually think this one was my favorite, and I would never have guessed that. If you gave me this list of books beforehand and then I went and read it, I probably would have expected this to be my least favorite book. So that's crazy. And then I have officially read 3 stories within this story collection. There are 12, so I'm a quarter of the way. Obviously, I'll be carrying this into my potentially final vlog for 12 books of Murdermas. But what I love about these collections specifically is that we have a combination of all of Christie's detectives. The first story followed Poirot. It was a bit quasi because he's actually telling Hastings about a case in which he failed. Then we ended up switching over to Miss Marple, and I really like Miss Marple. I know that I haven't liked all of her stuff in the past. I mean, even in my last vlog for this series, I read a subpar book that I wasn't that impressed with, but her short stories, I really typically like Miss Marple in short story form. And then we actually have the third story that I just finished this morning, and it follows Mr. Quinn and Mr. Satterthwaite. I actually think it's when they meet, which is kind of interesting. Gathered around on New Year's Eve night. Midnight has just struck, and they are reflecting back on a suicide that happened 10 years previously in the same home by its previous owner. And Mr. Quinn comes in from the cold and he has everyone rehash the details that they remember, and they eventually figure out what actually happened, why he committed suicide, if he did. Was it foul play? And that's been my favorite story so far. So yeah, I'm excited to keep going with this, but I think we need to wrap up this vlog so far because I have unwrapped 6 gifts. I know that this one isn't done yet, but I have all of them in front of me, and wow, what a mixed bag we had this time around. I started off with a white elephant, Auntie Pym, and it started off really strong. I really enjoy the cozy vibes of it, but by the end I wasn't that impressed. Then I got another white elephant and I DNF'd it. Sorry, Rainy, it just was not for me. It was too silly. The humor was really distracting and I had no idea what was going on. And then I actually unwrapped Midwinter Murder, still working on that, so I picked up Mystery in White. This one, I think I expected this to be my favorite in the vlog because I love the premise of it and I did really enjoy it until the end got a little bit silly, but the paranormal stuff is pretty fun. Then I ended up DNFing the Egyptian, what is it called? The Egyptian Cross Mystery. because it also just got ridiculous. As soon as they brought in the nudist colony, I was like, what are we doing here? So that just, it didn't work for me. And then finally, we have The Spy Who Came In From the Cold, and wow, what a surprising kind of gem this was. What we need to do is actually prepare ourselves for, hopefully, like I said, the final vlog. I've got my jar, I've got my 6 books in front of me, and what I'm thinking is, depending on how this works, unless I unwrap the final white elephant in my first unwrapping for the next vlog, I may actually make this kind of a challenge / race to the end, whereas this vlog ends when I find the final white elephant. I just think it raises the stakes a little bit and increases my fear of finding the final white elephant. So that's kind of what my thoughts are at the moment, unless I unwrap the white elephant right now. But I'm not going to unwrap it fully. Whatever I end up choosing, I'm going to do like what I did last time, which is unwrap a corner. And then, you know, we'll have to wait until the next vlog to find out what it ends up being. So let's see what suggestions I have in here. I don't think there are any suggestions left within vlog 1, like in the comments. So we're just gonna pull from the jar and see what we get. Oh, blind pick. Okay, how am I gonna do this? Okay, what I'm gonna do is I've got my 6 here and I'm just gonna play around with them. And yeah, we're just gonna do this for a little bit. Okay, so we've got this, and what I think I'm gonna do is choose a random number 1 through 6, and we're just gonna like count. So let's do 3. We're gonna do 3. Okay, so 1, 2, 3. Oh God, I'm really scared. If this ends up being the like white elephant, then I'm just gonna keep reading and we'll see what I get to, because I don't know, but oh God. Okay, let's do it. Woo! It kind of looks like it might be a little bit spooky. I think I know what this is actually, and I'm really excited because it's a book I want to read. But is it a white elephant or is it not? I don't know. If I'm right, then I'm excited to read the book, but I won't say whether it's a white elephant or not. So here we are. Okay, well, thank you all so much for getting to the end. Thank you to my manor guests, whatever tier you're at, from sleuths to witnesses to suspects to corpses. I really do appreciate you all so much. Please take care of yourself this season. And yeah, I'll see you all in the next one. Bye!